Hey everybody. I hope I have this set up right tonight. I don't. Here we go. There, that's better, I think. I don't know what's the matter with my camera, but at any rate, hey everybody. I'm going to give everyone a few minutes to join. I just finished watching the Senate debate, and which is the last debate before the election. I don't need my glasses on. And that's the other problem. So I also watched the Biden speech tonight. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that as well. And in fact, I think what I'm going to talk, start with and give everyone time to get on here is to talk about the Biden speech. And let me just say, first and foremost, the reason that Biden gave that speech tonight is because the Democrats are in big trouble in these midterm elections. There's just no question about that. They are in big trouble, and the polling generally, has the economy, inflation as the top issues, and the Democrat issues that aren't the top, but sort of just below the top issues are abortion and democracy, protection of democracy. So that speech tonight by Biden was kind of a Hail Mary to help Democrats in these midterms. And let me just say I think when Democrats talk about that issue, and they try to pin it all on January 6th and all that stuff, I think it's largely a misrepresentation and an overstatement of the situation with democracy. And I found his speech to be very, very, well, it's Joe Biden giving it, first of all. It wasn't inspirational or anything like that. And it's just a really overstatement and exaggeration of, in fact, one only needs to look to their criticism of, the Georgia voting law, which made voting easier but harder to cheat, and the way the Democrats demonized that law and was awful. And now we're finding out that law in Georgia, in fact, is resulting in extremely high early voting. So all the scare tactics and the fear mongering of the Democrats about that Georgia law was just nonsense. And that's what Biden was trying to do tonight in his speech. He was trying to instill fear in the American people, specifically independents and moderate Republicans, to try to save the midterm elections for the Democrats. And I don't think it's going to work. I really don't think it's going to work. And it shows a level of desperation by the Democrats that he went out less than a week before the midterm elections and tried to motivate people to vote for Democrats by instilling fear into Democrats. So And I think it was a desperate attempt that did not work. So now, let me just talk. I got a phone call here. I'm going to send it a text, but, let me just talk about this debate tonight and give you some feedback on my reaction to it. And I didn't take specific notes. Those of you who have watched me do this before, I have a bunch of notes and I just wanted to watch it, step back and watch it, and I'll give you my reactions to that. I would say first and foremost, clearly, I think that was, that Don did better than he had done before in the other debates. He pounded Hassan and just hung everything around her neck, that's going on in this country. And he did it continuously. I think, I think there were some opportunities that Hassan missed to call him out on some things. For example, there was, on the one hand, Don was hammering about heat, the inflation and the heat or eat and all that stuff, which is a huge problem. But there was a question about this law that was passed that provides subsidies to people, including granted staters, to pay for increased heating costs. And Don said he wouldn't have voted for that. And I think that was an opportunity for Hassan. I thought Maggie Hassan was very, very nervous at the beginning. I think it was clear, from her nervousness at the beginning, that she knows she's in trouble in this election. She knows that she could lose this election. And I think the first 20 minutes or so of, she was very nervous. Nick, my PAC is supporting New Hampshire Republicans. And in fact, if, we put out a list of the New Hampshire Republicans that we're supporting, Nick. It's out there on the Facebook page. We have ads online, for the Republicans we're supporting. So Nick, I don't know where you're getting your information, but you're wrong. We are supporting, New Hampshire Republicans. I don't understand why you're even saying that. You're obviously not paying attention to what the New Hampshire Advantage PAC is doing. Hey Nick, why haven't I sent money to Bob? I don't know what Bob you're talking about, but I'll tell you this. I put a lot of my own money into this election cycle. So it's kind of offensive that, whatever Bob you're talking about, I'm sure one of the candidates we're supporting is named Bob. But at any rate, I thought Hassan was very, very nervous, in the first 20 minutes, even nervousness to the point of a bit of desperation, which tells me that she knows this race is very, very close. I thought she settled down after the first 20 minutes or so and did better. But her nervousness came through early on. One of the things I think Don did a good job of pinning on Hassan all the problems in the country. But almost to the point where he went overboard. So I got a little worried about that about 2/3 of the way. through the debate. I thought it was too much. And the other thing about that is, and I think the strategy was right. I mean, absolutely. You want to hold Hassan accountable for inflation, the southern border, the bad economy, what's going on in the world. So that was a right strategy. I thought, however, that at no point did he really offer up any solutions. And, at first I didn't notice it, but, when it got to be too much, it occurred to me that, that he just wasn't offering up any solutions. So I think that was a problem he had. Hassan, and I've said this before, I think she's just boring. She is boring. The way she talks, it's a monotone voice. She doesn't show emotion. She even when she took shots at Don, there wasn't any emotion in it. And I think that hurts her. I think, but that's her personality. So I think that really, really hurts her. I mean, especially in these times. In these times, we Granite Staters, we want our politicians to feel our emotion about what's going on. We want our politicians to feel our emotion about high inflation and the economy and the opioid crisis. I mean, those are issues that we should be very, very emotional about. So in this comment, he stuck to what's important, and I don't know how to pronounce your name based on what it's written, and I'm not sure what your comment is about. He stuck to what's important. If you want to say more about that, I'm glad to respond to it. But we want our politicians basically to feel our pain. And for Maggie Hassan, she's so monotone and boring that I certainly don't feel like, she is connected to what we're feeling, out here. And she made some mistakes too that I think Don, had missed an opportunity to really, really hit her on. And here's a simple one. When the question about, what item at the grocery store, and she mentioned her husband buying eggs. Well, if you remember the last debate, Maggie Hassan says she goes to Market Basket. And she talks to people when she goes to Market Basket, and she does shopping at Market Basket. Doesn't mean her husband doesn't, but she couldn't give an answer of saying when I bought something. And I think that was an opportunity, small, tiny, non-issue. I get it, but just an opportunity to point out that she's, that she's being a bit dishonest there. So, I from a substantive perspective, Maggie Hassan, knows the policies, knows the substance. I think that was, hey, Sean, welcome back. Good to see you back on here, buddy. And it will be no thanks to you. Well, listen, Sean, in case you don't know, I gave a maximum donation to Don Boldock. So there you have it. So at any rate, I think Maggie Hassan is just boring. and and she's not connecting with voters on an emotional level. And I think that's got her in big trouble. So, you know, hey, Nick, okay, I can't give money to everybody, Nick, you know, I'm sorry, but I can't. So, the other points in the debate, I don't think Don handled the question about his flip flop on election denying or not denying and all that very well. I think he could have handled that better. Having said that, I'm not sure that's going to matter very much, if at all, in this election. So from the perspective of moving on beyond it, I think he did good, but I think his initial response was not good. Here's the key to this election for everybody. Here's the key, right? And the key is turnout. Who is gonna turn out? I think the winner in this U.S. Senate race, is going to be from the party who gets the best turnout. That's who's going to win it. So we need to get out the vote. We Republicans need to get out to vote, and get your friends out to vote. And make sure everybody gets out to vote, because that's who's going to win this election. This is going to be a turnout election. I mean, the environment greatly favors Republicans. There is no question about it. And this should be a Republican sweep here in New Hampshire. But the way the Democrats can win this in New Hampshire is to overwhelm Republicans with turnout. And let me tell you the importance. Here's a little example of why the turnout's so important. I read something online, and I think this was a real comment online, where a woman said that her 18-year-old daughter, I think it was Nashua, recruited 85 of her friends of voting age to get out and vote for the Democrats, for Maggie Hassan. So you don't hear much about it, but make no mistake that the Democrats are out there working hard to have incredible turnout in this election. And I think that's the only way they can win it here in New Hampshire. I think Carolyn Levitt is ahead, and Bob Burns in CD2 is closing the gap, and this U.S. Senate race is neck and neck, and Sununu's going to win. But in many respects, the debate tonight, I don't think matters much, quite frankly. I think some people, some undecideds watched it, and who knows how they're going to react to what happened tonight. I mean, I gave you my feedback on it. And just to summarize that feedback, I thought Maggie Hassan was boring, unemotional, at a time when we want our politicians to connect with us emotionally, because, Granite Staters are in a lot of pain. She clearly knows the substance and the policy. She said, I don't know, a lot of times how she's the most bipartisan senator. And then I thought, Dawn really pinned on her the Biden administration's problems and her role in that, and really, really beat on her in that sense. Having said that, I thought this was, he did better in this debate, but I thought he was too light on policy ideas. It's one thing to say career politicians are horrible, look at the horrible things that have been done, and on and on and on. But, he didn't have many suggestions. Given this environment, I don't know that people are really going to care too much about suggestions. I think this environment is such that, throw out the Democrats. The Democrats, have made this economy awful, have made inflation awful. And they need to be replaced. So get out to vote, get your friends out to vote. And because this election will be a turnout election, and don't get overconfident, especially with this latest poll that came out from St. A's. It's according to the St. A's poll, it's virtually a dead heat. Here's what I'm worried about on the St. A's poll. And this is why we Republicans have to get the turnout. Is you may recall that about 10 days, I think it was 10 days or so, maybe 2 weeks before the primary, the St. A's came out with a poll and had Don Bolduc ahead of Chuck Morris by 16 points, 16 percentage points. But in the primary, he won by, I think, 2 points or less. And my point is this, don't trust the fact that the St. A's poll has this as a dead heat. We need to get out and vote. We need to get out and vote for Republicans in full force, and that's the way we're going to win this election. So the what your choices are, and it's going to be exciting next Tuesday on Election Day, and I'll be watching. And let me just make one last comment about polls. I've been studying these polls all over the country, and I got a pretty good idea of what polls are credible and what polls are not credible, and what polling techniques are credible and what polling techniques are not credible. And what I'll say to everyone, beware of polls. All right. Get out to vote and beware of polls. And we'll see what happens. So, and I didn't wear a hat tonight because I got some feedback, from someone that my hat was crooked. So I didn't wear a hat tonight. So listen, thanks for watching, and go vote. And, I don't know that I'll do another one of these before election night. Maybe I will. Oh, and by the way, the comment about, is my PAC helping Republicans? Yes. I think 30 something. I've said that earlier. But the other thing is the ads we're putting up for Republicans, it is driving tremendous, feedback that we're getting. I think the latest count was it's driven, over 7,000 visits to the New Hampshire Advantage PAC website. So if you're interested, go to the New Hampshire Advantage PAC website and you'll see what we're doing and who we're supporting. and we've been very effective with it. We think we've come up with a good formula on that. And keep in mind, it's a state PAC, so we're only supporting state candidates. So at any rate, thank you so much, and have a good evening. We'll see you.